goodness. Always gotta have side.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back, and I don't know if I would say we're back, and we're better.
I feel like we're better.
Yeah.
I feel like
a better place. Yeah, we're in a better place.
Yeah, always growing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys. So we are back. We were in like a 3-week hiatus.
Yes, 3 weeks.
We're trying to get ourselves together.
Yeah.
We started a challenge, a 75-day soft challenge that we've been struggling with. We're not even gonna lie to y'all.
Oh.
We've been struggling with
That's
that.
funny.
Yeah, we've just been in a lot of different
Yeah.
places in our lives, and I just felt like we really felt so staged and so really not our authentic
Yeah.
selves in the past few episodes. And when we came up with this episode, we wanted it to be a safe space for us where we can just be our authentic selves and create a safe space for you all as well.
Yeah.
In that, and the past few episodes, it's kind of felt like more of a chore
Yeah.
than like a passion when we first started it. And so the format of our podcast moving forward is going to be a lot different than the past few episodes. It's going to be just more of us just talking, being real, explaining what we're dealing with in our lives, world-wise, faith-wise, everything. Because at the end of the day, that's really what the heart of the in-between was supposed to be about.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we're still walking in the in-between. I feel like we were kind of taking it based on we're out of the in-between.
Yeah.
And which
we
we're
had it
definitely
all right.
not. Yeah, no.
We found out that really quick into our 75-day soft challenge, which I know when we had talked, Jemiah was like, I think, should we start over? Like, should we restart? Because y'all, we weren't. To be honest, we created this challenge and it was hard for us. You know, we thought that it was going to be very sustainable, but God really showed us, like, in our daily lives, a lot of things that, like, we were doing that, wasn't intuitive with the challenge. And I had to tell her, as long as we're trying, we're there. And I would say there were days where I was trying and days where I was not. And I think that was such a big, what's the word? I
can't even help because I ain't
it's
there.
like a word. It's a reality check of no, girl, you're still very much in between.
Yeah.
You're actually as in between as it can get.
And it's so crazy because my mom is actually, she does it and she's like saying how she put the soft in quotations, but she said this challenge is hard. And I'm like, and we thought we dimmed it down.
No, it was a lot, and I want to say that if you're feeling that way, don't worry. I don't like to use the word fail.
No, I wouldn't.
We didn't fail.
Because we've been in the gym. In the gym. Like this past week we haven't because the traveling and trying to get back on track. But we were in there. Lifting weight.
We were
increasing weight.
right.
Yeah, like we were in there.
Right.
We were doing the devotions.
Right.
So.
We tried.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say fail.
Okay.
It was treading new water, the gray area. It was just, and I wouldn't even say use it hard as a word. It was challenging.
Yeah.
And we've never been consistent. Like we were talking about, like the discipline and consistency where we didn't have to really, you don't have to show up for yourself every day. You can choose to, you know. So we were just trying to navigate that and add it into our already busy lives, and we're still on the challenge. So I'm still on.
It looks different. Yeah, it's a little different it's a little different than the format we created. But I would say that we're trying. I think that this 3-week break has really just allowed us to kind of tap into like what our next steps look like. And I would say honestly for me, Jemiah, I got to a point where I was like, do I have room for the in-between? Do I have space for the in-between? And I started to get angry at myself because I'm like, am I allowing like all the new things in my life now like take me away from like at the core what this is supposed to do for us, like help us create a safe space for us to just be our authentic selves, young Black women in our 20s, navigating ourselves, our faith. And so when you had texted me and was like, we should just do just like a talk, I was like, thank God, because I felt like a robot these past few episodes. And I also just wanted to make sure that I'm living out the person that I am behind the camera. And I felt like I wasn't being my authentic self because I felt like I had to be this person that we're presenting on this camera.
Exactly.
And I think to that end, it's important, that we remind you all again that like we're human. We are young adults. We are young women. We are still trying to navigate our lives, ourselves, our faith. And so I wouldn't say that we are the cookie cutter, you know, but we're trying, but we're in the between, and we're trying.
Yeah, and that's so crazy because I went out. I think so. When we came into the challenge, it was like we have to be completely locked in.
Yeah.
No going out. Like
no seeing anybody. Just tapped in.
Literally. And so I went out one Thursday actually with one of my best friends because we haven't hung out in a long time, and we had a time. We went karaoke and we sung Itty Bitty Piggy. Like we had a time.
Yeah.
Like it was so fun. And then we ended up going to another location downtown, and you know we got home late. We drank, you know, and so I really struggled with that the next morning.
Yeah.
Because I was like, first of all, I was like, how am I gonna tell Zizi? Like we were supposed to be locked in, and I'm like, how am I gonna tell her? And I was like, it just literally felt like I was like a failure.
No, she literally was like the day before. She was like, I have to tell you something. And so I'm like, girl, like,
because first of all, I hate
pregnant
letting
or
people
something.
down.
I'm like, hey, don't say you about to have a kid. Like, please.
Zizi, don't take that back.
And so then she tells me. She tells me, and I'm like.
Yeah, I know. She's like, that's all you have to tell me.
I was like, that was it.
But I literally, because like I said, I hate letting people down. Like that's something that
it's not
I was
your
working
character.
on. Yeah, and so that's what it felt like. And it, not even just you. I was like, dang, I have to get back behind this camera. And I feel like we were putting on a persona that we have already conquered those little triggers and things.
Yep.
And, you know, so. And not that I felt guilty for having fun. I enjoyed myself genuinely.
Right, as you should.
I don't even think it was conviction. I think it was condemnation.
Yeah.
You know, I think that it was because I didn't go over the limit. I wasn't blacked out like I would have been.
Her.
You know, like I'm telling you, like
yeah.
I would have tried
you
to outdrink everybody.
Yep.
You know, and maybe I drank a little bit over the limit, but not to the point where I didn't have control. Like I still was able to get home. You know, and so. It was just like I said, it was more of condemnation because I'm like, dang, I feel shameful.
Yeah.
You know, because I put on this persona, this that I maybe had it all together, and I talked to my therapist about it. She's like, okay.
That's it.
she's like, I was like, I've been struggling these past few days and just trying to figure out where do I go next? Do I have to go on the podcast again? You know, and she was like. Oh, okay. Like she was like,
let's bring it back.
Yeah, she was like, you have to realize that you can't be all or nothing.
Yeah.
And in the past, I was all or nothing. Well, last week or 2 weeks ago.
Periodically.
Yeah, like, and my mindset is always either all or nothing. You know, either I don't drink at all, or I drink to the fullest, you know, or I don't do anything at all, or I do everything to the fullest.
Yeah.
She's like, you have to learn how to navigate that gray area. She said you have to learn to walk in it and understand that you are still growing every single day and realizing your boundaries and your standards and what's in your limits. She said the only way that you can figure it out is to go out and do it.
Yep.
You know,
that's so good.
To literally just sit in your, because I was so focused on sitting in my house, sitting in the house because I don't know how to control myself. She's like, the only way you can test something is if you go and do it.
In it. Oh my God.
You know, and so I was like, thank you, because and it was people in my life who made me feel bad about it as well because they did see me at my worst. You know, so understandable. But she was like, you also have to remember that you are a new person.
Right.
You aren't the person you were 2 years ago or a year ago. You are someone who has grown. So, yeah, you may have drank. Not to say you won't drink again.
Right.
You are understanding your limits. You're going to be intentional.
Right.
You're going to set those standards and those boundaries before you go.
Right.
And you're going to go and just live your life and enjoy your life and understand that it's the gray area that you have to navigate that process. And so I've just been that has been the past couple weeks, the gray area is just where I'm navigating and understanding. So
I would say that as well. I had went on vacation as well, and I wasn't concerned. I think for me, I was just like, okay, God, like I'm going on vacation with my family. Like this is my first trip with my family that we're all adults. Like my brother's an adult.
Right,
like, and I was, you know, like we. Honestly, like my family and our family trips they start off well and they don't end well at all. And so I was already going into it like, oh my God, this is gonna be terrible. Like I just can't wait to come home. Like we're gonna do. But I had a blast. Like I had a blast with my family. Like this was the first time where it was just nothing but love. And the same thing as well. You know, we went out one night and I was just like, okay, like. I had not been in like an environment like out at a bar like in a long time because again like I drink to, I'm the fullest. I don't drink to the fullest. Literally, fullest is defined after me. Fullest is me. And the same thing, I mean, just a week before you had, expressed to me your experience, and I was like, you know what? That is the same thing. Like, I can't be cooped up in the house because I'm not going to know how strong I am until I'm tested.
Yeah, exactly.
And the same as well, I went out and I was able to have a good time, and just the whole night I was able to just think like, Z 6-7 months ago would have already been gone. Already been gone. I was able to remember the whole night from start to finish.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? And I was just like being able to just look back and be like, wow, I'm already growing. So from 6 months from now, like, how different is my life gonna look? And I think in our first episode we talked about embracing your own convictions and not the convictions of what you feel. And I think with both of us, we felt convicted because we are behind a camera, which was so important that we mentioned, like, this is a podcast of us just expressing where we are in our lives. We're not trying to pretend like we're somebody we're not. We're not trying to pretend like we have it all together, but we just want other people to know that, like, if you're in these moments, like, you're not alone. We're going through the same thing as you. We're just putting it out in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're just being vulnerable about it, and I love that. Like, I love that we're able to be able to share this because it's hard. It's hard because you don't want to be a hypocrite. You don't want to be fake. You don't want to. But it's just life. And I think you mentioned something about wisdom is learned from experiences. And the wiser we get is because we're put through certain scenarios and we have navigated in a way that has worked best for us to succeed. And I'm just so grateful that we're always so in sync that we're like literally, okay, girl, let's bring it back. Or like, it's not that deep. So I think we said that we're not going to really have topics, but our topic today really is just going to be what's up with us and God. Just checking in on where we are, what we're feeling, and just kind of navigating like what the next looks like for us and stuff. So I don't know if you want to start, and then I feel like
So I mean what I talked about, that was probably the first week, the week that we actually the week before, and so you went out of town, and so literally just the gray area. That I feel like that's been my what is the season title for
that you've been in?
The gray area, and I've just been really just navigating that, just figuring out who I am in that. It's crazy because when I went out and after the days after, like I said, I was experiencing that condemnation, and I was like, you know what? If I just go back to my old ways, I don't even have to face nobody. I don't even have, and it was so hard for me to pick up my Bible. And I feel like that is what the devil tries to work on in those areas.
He's like, see how easy it can be.
Exactly. And I was like, if I was to just go full out, because it literally felt like, based on the I guess the what is called, the reactions that people gave me, the people around me that they gave me, I was like, dang, y'all act like I committed a crime. like I don't went out and killed somebody. Like, this girl just went out and sung karaoke and had a good time with her friend. Like, I'm 23 years old, and it was not to say that, like I said, life is for the living, and that's what I was telling you before you left. I feel like we were just trying. I don't even know what we were trying to do, y'all.
I don't know. We were trying
something, but
it wasn't
authentic, and I was like, I have a desire to have fun. I have a desire to live life. But I also don't have a desire anymore to live that without God.
Right.
And so I'm trying to figure out my relationship with God in the gray area. Like I said, not all or nothing. Not me not doing anything in the house, just completely just blocking myself from the world, but also not fully trying to be something I'm not.
Right.
So it's just like just the daily obedience. Literally, I've just been like, okay, God, what are we working on today? I think I was telling my mom that I have a lot of faith for the big things in life, for the big prayers that I have. But what about the little small ones, the day-to-day prayers that you have? Like, do you have enough faith for that?
Right.
Do you have enough faith for God to get you through this temptation or this trial, And so I was like, dang, it's so crazy because I can pray all day, every day for the financial freedom for my family, the generational cycles to be broke. I can pray all day for that. But it's like, girl, you gotta make it to tomorrow.
Right? You're not even gonna see that if you don't.
Like, you gotta just make it through. Like, and God is not a God that's only in the big things in your life.
Right.
He's in the everyday steps of your life, and that's what I like. In this season, I've been more. I mean, I read my Bible, I do my devotions, and I make sure I'm reading His Word as well. But I love just talking about my day with Him. I love just having that structured conversation with him where I'm just like telling him everything, and I feel like that's when we're the closest, that relationship part. You know, and I've never had that before with God. I always thought I had to have my Bible out and you know, and have the journaling my prayers, and I'm like, I'm literally just talking to him. It doesn't matter if I don't. I guess I will always remember, because once I'm walking into prayers and I'm like, oh wow, like we talked about this, but I always thought that I had to write everything down so that I can have proof. And I was like, the proof is in the pudding, first of all.
And he knows.
He knows. Yeah. And so I'm like no one has to know except me and him. You know, and so it's literally just being me and him walking in this gray area in a process, and I've been really loving it. Like I said, I got the compliment of you look becoming. And it just really stuck with me, because I was like, or stuck with me. Whoa.
Stuck.
Ooh, I went to college for a little bit. But it really stuck with me, because I was just like, that's what I am right now. I'm becoming. I have not became. I am not becoming. I am becoming. And I'm just in this season where I'm just choosing me, realizing who I am, not trying to people please anymore. My therapist told me that I was that, and I've really been working on that. Well, she didn't tell me, but you know, like when they're
alluded to
and she's like, so what you think? I'm like, dang, I guess I am.
Right.
You know, like they just make you realize that. So,
and I think it's crazy, at least. It's when you're so close to a person, like you're able to see it. Like the past few times I've seen him, like, oh my God, like you look so beautiful. And like I had mentioned to her, like, I don't want you to think that you weren't beautiful before, but it's just like, even in this gray area, like I am able to see like your active steps. Like even I was like, okay, if you got your nails done, like just taking those steps to like become the woman. It's so small. Getting your nails done is just so small, but like I was able to pick that up so easy. Like seeing you come together with a full fit, you know, looking cute, and it's just like, even in the gray area where you feel like what's going on, like the people around you are able to see that glow and see like you stepping into that. And like you said, we pray for the big things, like, oh, you know, new job, where you think people are able to see new success, but just the small things in your life are just something to just be cherished and grateful for, because that's God actively working, you know. And I think a lot of times you're like, God, do you hear me? And God, what's going on? But when you're tapped into His Word, you're able to see these small movements and changes that He's doing in your life, and so it makes the big thing great, but it's not like, oh my God, because you've been blessing Him and grateful throughout this whole process that you're just like, thank you, God, like I knew you would come through.
Exactly.
You know?
and that's what I was telling my mom, like, it's not the fact. I'm not a materialistic person, so it wasn't the fact that I got my nails done or I had a new outfit, like, well, I had the outfit, I just put it together. It wasn't that. It was the fact that I thought that I can only have those things when I got to that big break prayer. It was like God is like, I'm gonna give you that. But can we just work on this right now? You know, like it's like you think that you have to wait for the big blessing in order to receive, but I'm giving to you every day. I'm giving you the grace. I'm giving you the resources. You know, it's like you to act like, I guess it's like a scarcity mindset, you know, type of thing, you know. And so I've been really working on my scarcity versus abundant mindset, saying that, you know, I have all that I need. I just have to go get it. And who says that I can't have it? It's only my own mindset. And I think that it's just been me versus me, really trying to get out of my own head. Like it took a lot, because you know when you go to the nail shop, it's like they charge you and taxing plus tip. Come on. And so it was like, for me, it's like, well, I'm working on my money and I just can't. And it's like, girl, treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
You think that so when you get more money, you're gonna have that same mindset. That same mindset.
And I think too, I don't know why I heard this, but it's like, God's not gonna be able to give you your big blessing because you can't even handle the small things, and it's just like God's given you a little bit of resources. He needs you to just work with that.
Can I just give you that?
Can I just give, and can you work with what I'm giving you? So then when I double that, when I triple that, then I know that you can work with that. You know what I mean? And like you said, it's a part of the scarcity mindset. But I think too, sometimes we have to realize, like, this is what we deserve in this moment. This is all we can work with. You know what I mean? What do I want more? Yes, but if this is what God says that I deserve, Lord, I'm gonna work with it. I'm gonna make it work. So then, because I know you're gonna double it. So when you double it, I know how to appreciate that and accept that, so that I'm just continuously being able to level up. And like I'll say, I'm seeing it in you. Like I see it. Like you have been talking about wanting to get a new wardrobe and you had been saying it. I'm like, you got it.
And you always ask, so what told you that?
I'm like,
you got the job. You got like, what's holding? And I was like, it's my own mindset. That's
and
what I have
so to be able to see it, like I think that if you need any motivation on like how you're feeling in the gray area, like it's gray to you, but it's looking yellow to me. So
if it wasn't for you though, like I promise you, just to see that you were, already walking in it, just to see someone already doing it, it's like what,
it's stopping you.
Yeah, literally. And so it's just like just for you to have you as that motivation and that encouragement and that inspiration. So it's been really, girl, life changing. So
and that's the thing. I think we need to like. I think that was the biggest thing with us creating this space too, is like for people to see it in real life. Like we see it in celebrities, we see it on social media, but I don't feel like I can connect with those people because they seem so far ahead of me that it's like, we'll never be the same. You know what I mean? And so to see it, more personal, it's like, okay, you know what? I can be that girl. I can have nice things. Literally. I can go to the spa. I can get my nails done because I'm seeing it through a person that is more close to me and in the lifestyle that is similar to me. So I think that's that's really good as well.
Yes. So let's get to you. I've been waiting.
I've been trying to.
I've been waiting.
I keep asking you questions so we cannot. Oh
my gosh. Story.
So we've kind of alluded to this in like our last episodes, but it hasn't been.
We've been trying to like go over it.
But not too much in depth. But what's up with me and God, or just me where I am right now? I am in a place where I am feeling very blessed and very grateful, but also very overwhelmed and very anxious. I feel like not a lot of people discuss like what it's like living in your prayers. After praying for so long, I think we pray for things that we want, but because we've never experienced it, no one talks about the uncomfortableness of it, how weird it feels, actually living in it, and I feel like I'm very grateful because I set myself up with the tools I needed to be able to get through it, but it's still very overwhelming. And so to address the elephant in the room, I've started dating exclusively.
Gotta use that word.
Exclusive. I'm not dating the streets.
She's not for the streets.
Not for the streets. I started dating, and just the way that it panned out has just been very, very overwhelming, but I'm so blessed. A year ago, I was a total man hater. Like, I didn't want a man to breathe my air. I don't want anything long term. Like, I just want to have fun.
Yeah, that's literally, whenever you ask, I'm like, okay, so now what do you want out of it? She was fun.
Nothing nothing
not
more.
Not
looking for anything. Like, I had a sack of L's, and I'm like, I'm not adding any more L's to it. I'm beat. I'm literally beat down. And then I got to a point where it's like, dang, like, I don't want that. I want to experience like companionship, maybe and I always just felt like I'm too mean. I'm too much of a Grinch. I'm like, and I don't want to change. So I just won't be with anybody, And
wow, that's good.
And then a few months pass, and I'm like, no, like I want a person. Like I don't, and so maybe there's some self-work that I need to do, and so in conjunction with a lot of other things, I need to go to therapy for.
When that happened,
You're like,
dang, I didn't mean that, y'all.
Okay.
I was just like,
she's like, she knows my life, so.
I'm in it too, if that makes sense.
And so I just, really started tapping into that with my therapist. I want to be able to do the self-work so that I'm ready to receive love, that I'm able to give love, and just be prepared for when that time comes. But I never was looking. Like I just still didn't really care because I didn't want to do the work. I'm not looking. You need to come to me, And so got into a place where as getting closer with God and just more in tune with the Word. It literally just it fell into my lap.
Literally, no.
Fell.
If only they knew.
I know. Fell into my lap from the jump, seeing this guy at church.
Yeah, at church.
In Jesus' name.
There we go.
Bumped into each other, just spoke. Hopefully, I'm gonna have him watch this. This is gonna be so embarrassing.
I know.
But we're being vulnerable, you guys. This is me being very vulnerable. So I'm gonna throw up when we watch this together. Literally bumped into each other, and that's what it was. It was just it. And after I was like, dang, it felt nice to be seen. Not trying to put it in a way, but we're seen by men, but like it's good to be seen by a man who seems like he's got some quality, you know. So I was like, okay, like
put together. So
I was like, okay, cute, whatever.
Cute, whatever.
Moved on in my life, kept y'all. And then I was telling her, I'm like, I feel like I need to run into him again. Like I didn't know what it was. Mind you, I couldn't even really see what he looked like because I didn't have my contacts in. But I was just like, I was telling Jemai, I was talking to her sister, and I was like, I don't know, like I feel like I need to see him again. And mind you guys, I had taken a break from like my home church for a while. I was going through a really weird spiritual warfare and was just going to a different church. So that was my first time even back at church when we bumped into each other. And after that encounter, I was like, dang, I need to run into him again. And I think it was like a month and a half it went by, I didn't see him, and I'm like, you know what? I was in a place where I knew that when God had my person, like God was gonna put my person. So I wasn't even tripping, like, dang, ran into you, met you, cute. Y'all, one Sunday came and I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm like, I feel a presence by me. And I looked over and I was like,
right next to you.
No. I was
literally,
like, and she's literally texting me from the back, like, girl, and I'm like, I'm about to throw up. Like, I was
like, oh, God said he gonna sit you right next to him.
And I was praying, like, God, like, let us run into each other again, but I meant run into from a few meters away, not next to me. So, y'all, I'm in church shaking in my boots. I'm shaking in my boots badly.
That is so funny.
And it just ended up, like, working out. You know, I still, you know, pray that God, you know, I hope that this is for you, because I mean, there can be men you meet in the church that still are not your person. The devil will disguise, you know, not saying that the men isn't godly, but he is not for you. And so I just was like, God, like please, you know, reveal that this is the person. It just has panned out very, very well. Like I've been looking for red flags, y'all, and I have not seen a red flag.
No yellow, no red.
And I've been looking, and I'm just like having to learn that even with that, you know, when it's from God, you won't need to look at the red flags. You know what I mean? Like things will pan out the way that it is, but in turn, it's been so overwhelming because you know my daily life looks different. I'm having to have conversations that like I am not used to having. I'm having to, you know, I knew that when I step into, you know, a relationship that I, you know, felt was for me, that I needed to start having conversations way sooner than later. Unlike before, where I would just let things flow, and then my expectations are different than the person's, then I'm hurt because I assumed, you know. And so while it's been so great to be able to like see my prayers in real life and to just see myself out of this kind of place where I'm like, I don't want love, I don't want to be dealing with this, like I don't want any of it, like to be like seeing myself gravitating towards that is like, it's great, but it's also so scary. And I think that I've just been really praying like God continue to work on me and use me, because I think that it takes a lot to undo your trauma. It takes a lot to have a good person in your life and not try to sabotage it because you're so traumatized of the past relationships and experiences, you know. But I think that the best thing is that it feels like it's from God. Like I've been so tapped into my word, and 6 months ago, if this would have happened, I would have already self-sabotaged it because I wasn't close enough to God to know that it was from Him, that it was His word, you know. And so I just look back and I'm so blessed that I started this self-work when I did. I'm so blessed that I tapped into the word when I did, because if I didn't, like I wouldn't have seen that this was from God. Like it wouldn't have worked out the way that it is, just so organically and authentically. And it's just like to be able to just be prepared as best as I can. Like I think that every day is going to be different and curveballs, but to be able to see that, you know, it was so hard starting therapy. Like I'm really glad that it's normalized now, but it was hard to be able to have to sit. Like I spent the first month of therapy, like every session just crying, like, and it got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to do this. Like I don't want to come on here and just be crying because of, you know, how traumatized that I am with just life experiences. But it's allowed me to be able to experience certain things, to know when things are triggering me, my feelings, and talk about it. And so while it's great, I also feel like I'm in this gray area because I'm now having to navigate a life that like I've never seen. And it's so great and it's so healthy, but it's also like so scary. And so I've just been praying like, God, don't let me fumble it, because one thing about me is I'll fumble it real bad.
And I think listen, you are the guinea pig, the blueprint for her. I'm like, listen, I always tell her, like, we talk about it all the time. I'm like, I don't know, but I've never seen it before, but it sounds right. Like,
and that's the thing,
I'm like, go find somebody who can help you know.
And that's what is just like so. It's like there's not even a word to explain like our relationship with each other, because it's like one thing about her, she's gonna gas me up, but she's so practical. She's like, girl, this seems great, but get a few other sources as well. Yeah, she's like call somebody who's married, who's happy, you know, just to make sure, because I think it looks great, and it's like to be able to have someone in your life that is able to like validate you and see the good, but also be like, I could be a little bit biased, so get somebody else. Like it's a lot, and sometimes it's hard sharing good things in your life, because it's like, you know, with friends being in different places in your life, like I never want to feel like I'm like, you know, being in different places in life with your friends can be hard sharing good things, because it's like you don't know how your friends are going to take it, you know, and it's like to be able to have you, or I can tell you everything and not feel like you feel some type of way, and it's just like you're always just so solution based, like you're gonna be okay, let's I'm like I take stuff to her, and she's like, all right, well, call your aunt and see how she feels, or, you know, talk about it, say it, and things like that. And so it's just been great to even have someone to talk about it, because it's hard doing this, and I did contemplate just like keeping everything to myself, and you know, I'm so used to taking L's that I'm like, I like to move more in complete silence, because when it doesn't pan out, at least nobody knows. You know, but I'm still so young. I am not the wisest that I'm going to be in this life, and I need other people to help me. And I think as, you know, as young women, we can be so guarded and so guarded, but also so naive. Like I will say that like I can be naive, and so stepping into this, I was like, I need my people. I need my village, you know.
And especially in treading new waters.
Like I need to be able to have people that I know that are going to support me and give me the real, even if it hurts. Because I just want to make sure that like I'm doing this right, so that I can, you know, protect myself and not continue to put myself in a cycle of trauma and hurt. Because I know that that's not what I deserve, and it takes me being strong and being on it to make sure that I don't get there.
Right, and that's so good. I was gonna say, because I think like either the first or second time you guys met, and I think you were still like kind of iffy, like, you know, I don't know. But it's like, you know, we talked about you were still protected. You know, if you allow God to come into it, then you don't have to worry about, you know, it's just an experience, or it's a, you know, it's a lesson or a blessing, you know, and so regardless, you're learning and you're understanding what you can tolerate, what you can't, you're learning your boundaries, your standards. That's just like we said, that gray area, that process. I feel like this should be just named the gray area.
Gray area,
but I think it's just, I think you've been doing amazing. I will continue to say it, because girl,
I'm trying.
I'd have been a whole lot of life strand. Like I said, I'm so glad God used you.
No, and I'm not. She's older than me, and so I just feel like people who are a little bit older than you should have like. She should have went through this. She should have did this for me.
I can tell you what not to do.
You know what? I'll take that. Even though I feel like I've done enough. Bad, but I'll take so that. Funny, but no, I think for me it was just like at the end of the day, what I'm learning is that if it's from God, it'll be filled with love and no confusion. I think that
that is so good.
Just no confusion.
God is not a God of confusion.
No, He's not. He's not. And so for me, you know, looking for the red flags, I'm messing up God's plan.
And calling yourself confusion.
For what?
And He's like, if you just chill. Can you just chill out? I'm not even showing. And you said you prayed the prayer. Y'all know that prayer. Go ahead and tell them.
I said, God, if He isn't for me, remove Him.
Stuttering.
And y'all know, when you pray that prayer, God has it on Amazon Prime.
One day. I'm sorry, this is just not going.
I just want to let you know, like, you know, like I'm not
ready.
Y'all, and the thing is, and going into this, I was like, I have to be intentional, and I gotta have those conversations. I gotta be real with God. I have to let God do what He needs to do, y'all. So I prayed that prayer.
He did, and He's still here, and He's only getting better.
I know.
I'm telling y'all from the jump. If you watching this, listen. From the jump, this man showed up. You know, and so everything that he's showing is just You know, so, and even you though, like you're setting your boundaries, you're having those tough conversations.
Yeah.
I know it's like conversations we were like, okay,
should
like,
I? Yeah.
You know, like it's like stressful to even think about, but you are doing it differently. You're doing it more intentionally, and it's working so far. You know, so it's just like it's amazing to see you in this season.
Thank you.
Like we're in different seasons, but it's just so amazing to see like you glow different.
Yeah.
Literally, and like you said, it's overwhelming, and sometimes we can doubt ourselves.
Yeah.
I watched the video. And I was talking about how doubt can either lead you further from God or closer to Him.
Yeah.
It's all about how you take it.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've been really trying to grow closer to God and trying to grasp what He's trying to do in your life in this season.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing that you can do right now.
Yeah, and I'll be honest though, like with this past 2 weeks, I had seen myself going away from God with doubt. I had seen myself and I was just like, no.
Right.
Like, I did not want to be that person that got what I wanted from God and then go ghost.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I think we talked about it, God, we can't sustain it without God.
Yeah.
It won't be anything from Him. And so I'm just thinking like, I cannot fumble what's good right now because I think that I got what I got and I got it in the bag, you know. And so these past few weeks I had been struggling. I had kind of been like, God, do I have time for the in between? Do I, you know what I mean? Do I have it with what's going on in my life? And it's just like, girl, you take God out of this and watch how everything like, and I'm like, I don't want to start
like you think you're overwhelmed now.
Right?
Take God out.
Right? And I'm just like, Lord, I don't want to start fresh. I don't want to start new. Like
exactly.
I'm learning, I'm loving where I'm at, and I'm just so glad that I have you to be able to be like, all right, like let's get back into it, and let's, you know, it's crazy because we're always on the same page. I have been feeling that I'm like, I don't feel like my authentic self. I feel like we're coming on here, it's so staged, it's so, you know, and we've been getting good feedback from it,
it's like,
but it's not us.
It's hard. It was hard to get on the camera sometimes.
Yeah, like we would literally come in the morning and have to like blast gospel music because we're fighting, and it's like, what are we fighting demons for?
And we're supposed to be having, like, I'm telling you, we were doing this before. You know, like
with
the
no
Bible
hesitation.
Studies, just getting there and like would sit literally 5 hours. Sitting there talking about God, you know, doing our devotion, our Bible studies. So I was like, why is it so hard for an hour, 2 hours? An hour
to do it, exactly. And so I'm just very blessed that I did the self-work. I reconnected with my faith when I did, because it's just like, all it takes is that. And I think too, like, I had this like notation that, you know, once you are in your prayers, everything is just like peaceful.
Wow.
And I am experiencing peace, but every day I still have to work to keep to maintain it. And to keep it, because I thought, you know, once God answers my prayers, I'm good. I don't have to think about nothing. I'm just gonna be on cruise control, you know. And it's not like every day I'm having to work to be the person that I want to be in a relationship, in my like personal life, in my job, as a friend, as a daughter, as a sister. Like, every day you have to work to be a better person. And there are days where I'm just like, I just want to sit and rot in my bed. Like, I don't want to make the time. I don't want to make the time to meet up with friends. I just want to sit and rot in my bed. And it's just like, you can't expect, you know, God to work with you if you don't want to put nothing in return. And so
that is so good. I love that you said that. That was really good, because I think that as soon as we get our answered prayers and we think we're experiencing inner peace, but it's not like what we looked at, and we instantly think it's not from God. And it's just like, no, it's still, but you're still going to have to work on our relationship. Because then it's like, it's a whole new level. You know, I always think about, like, when you play video games, you have to understand your strength in each level. In order to cross that level. You know,
and
so,
to double up. Like, what you learned in level 1, you're going to need everything you learned in level 1, because in level 2, it's going to be that times 2.
Exactly.
And so it's like, what makes you think that when God puts you in your place, it's just going to be...
you don't have to do nothing else. I'm done.
Because He wants to level you up again, and so you have to constantly do the work. And I think for me, that was like a very, I wouldn't say a rude awakening, but that was a very like good wake up call. I was like, oh, I thought that when I got here, it was just going to be, peaches and cream, but it's like, no, I still have to do the self-work to maintain it and be ready to accept the next blessing that God has for me. And looking at it in that perspective has been so much better, because before my perspective was like, oh my God, this is different. I'd rather just stay where I was, because at least I knew how much energy I needed to give. I was already prepared to give that energy, whereas now it's like I'm having to give so much more, but it's so much more for the better. And so it's like, when I look at just knowing that, like, okay, He's got me to this blessing, like, how much more can He get me to? Like, I gotta keep going. Like, tired and everything, like, I have to keep going.
Yeah. Do not get weary of doing good.
Yeah.
Galatians 6:9.
Yeah.
Ooh. Because at the right time, in due season, you know, he's reaping the blessing of the harvest, you know, so.
And I think it's good. So I read, we'll go into like the scriptures that we're kind of like resonating with, but I read something that it's so crazy. Like, it has, what I'm going to read has our podcast title in it, but it says, there will be days that are filled with so many miracles and days where you question every little moment. There's nothing wrong with living in the in-between, where life is just going day by day and a sense of calm and space to collect. Spend more moments in the in-between so you can appreciate every day and take in the lessons. So just spend more, like we're calling it the gray area. Spend more time in that in-between. Spend more time in that. And sit in it.
Just be okay with walking in that area.
Yeah.
Stop trying to, I think we always try to figure out, okay, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Just take the first
Take the first,
Yeah.
And it's so and I think with that as well is it's so easy to learn to see the lessons in the blessings in the big, but it takes a really self-aware and a very locked in person to be able to find lessons in the littlest things in just the daily things. And I think that in where I'm at in my life, I'm praying that God will allow me to be more intentional with my day, be more self-aware with my day.
Just
you know,
day by day.
What did I feel today? What did I learn today? What could I have done better today so that I can take that and just do better every day. I'm so used to like, you know, God, when my big blessing comes, this is what I'll be. This is how I feel.
When this happens, then I'll be that.
Yes, when and then. When God is saying, what are you going to do though now?
Right now.
What I'm working in now. Because what you're doing now is going to, and I think we have this notation of when we get this, we'll be this person.
Exactly. No.
We say that with dating. You know, we date guys and we're like, you know, you see the potential. If he isn't showing you, what makes you think that he's just going to wake up one day and be this? People show you who you are, and we're able to see that in other people. Reflect it yourself.
Please,
you're not going to be this boss woman, this boss person who has it all together if you're not working daily and being self-aware and intentional in your daily life. And so when I had seen that, I was like, wow, like I need this. I need to be back. I mean, we have a podcast called The In-Between, and I'm not even like I can't even deal with the in-between. Like, who am I? Like, I need to lock back in, and so I just think that it's so important for us to remember that there's good in the gray. Gray doesn't mean
good in the gray.
Yeah,
I love
gray
that.
doesn't mean dark and
cloudy and
gray.
stormy.
Yeah, gray can just be a different day, but it's still a day that we can learn something and grow.
And gloomy days are always my favorite days.
Yeah.
I love gloomy days.
Yeah.
You know, so just like we sit in gloomy days and we think that, you know, open the windows and listen to
get
the
some
rain.
fresh air. Yeah.
Let's do that in our lives as well. So, you know, we didn't add any scriptures, but we want to add some scriptures at the end that we've been leaning on throughout this season. So, do you want to read yours first?
Yeah. So there's been two that I really have been leaning on and that I want to continue to lean on as I'm walking into this new area in my life, and it comes from Jeremiah 17:7-8, and it says, "The person who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence indeed is the Lord, is blessed. He will be like a tree planted by water. It sends its roots out toward a stream. It doesn't fear when heat comes, and its foliage remains green. It will not worry in a year of drought or cease producing fruit." And then my second one is Matthew 6:34, which is pretty familiar, and it's just, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own."
Yes.
And I just felt like these two really resonated with me in terms of, you know, just the anxious and the overwhelmingness, you know, that the person, you know, who's trusting in the Lord is blessed, and he's got me this far, and so I need to continue to trust him so that I'm able to see and reap the blessings that he has for me. And just, I want to be like a tree. I want to continue to be poured into and to be flourished and to be able to be prepared for every season in my life because I have God backed by me. And so this is what stuck out to me. And then just, I feel like Matthew 6:34 is so good when you're just dealing with anxiety and uncertainty.
Sure.
Like, tomorrow's got its own things. Deal with today. Take today with God, and then we'll look at the next day. You know, I think it's so easy to want to look at what ahead looks like, which I think is good to be prepared, but you can also get lost in looking so far ahead.
All right, so the scripture that I've been leaning on, it was also in our challenge, was Proverbs 3:5-6, and it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take." And it's self-explanatory, literally. I just stop trying to think into stuff so deeply and just trust in God in everything that you do. It's another scripture that says with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul. So like with everything, you know, just give it to God and just keep it pushing, you know. And so, and as long as you do that and seek His will, He'll show you which path. He'll give you the guidance.
It'll pan out the way He wants it to.
Exactly. So yeah, that's just what I've been leaning on for the past couple of weeks, that I'll continue to lean on, as well as other scriptures. So.
Good. Yeah, well, this has been so freeing. Like, I feel like we just had like a therapy. Like, just I haven't seen my therapist in 2 weeks, so it just feels so comfortable to be able to just like speak and be just, you know, like we've been like coding things, so it just feels so nice just to be able to just speak freely and just get it out. And I'm so glad for like the kind of pivot that we're about to have for this. And like always, like we want you guys to just give us feedback. What do you want to hear? What are you experiencing in your life that you feel like, you know, you need some dialogue with, because I'm sure we either have experienced it or going to experience it, and we want to know as well on how to share wisdom. So we just thank you guys just for always tuning in with us. As always, follow us on our socials. We are on Instagram, we're on TikTok, YouTube. It is all in our bio, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
All right.